slope-intercept, we have mx plus b. Remember, the m is your slope. The b is your y-intercept. This is also where you will begin your graph. Okay, so using the equations below, put a triangle around the slope and circle the y-intercept. And then we're going to graph just the first two. So we're going to go ahead and put a triangle around the slope. We're going to circle the y-intercept. Make sure you include that sign. And now we're going to graph. So I begin with 5 on the y-axis. So I'm going to find 5 and I'm going to put a dot. Okay, my slope is 1 over 2. Okay, slope is y over x. So since our y-axis goes up and down, this is positive, so I'm going up 1. And then since this is positive, I'm going to the right 2. So from that red dot, I'm going to go up 1, right 2. Okay, I could also go down 1 and left 2 because that would also still be positive. And then I'm going to go ahead and connect. All right, on the next one, notice that the order is different. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. I'm going to put a triangle around my slope and circle my y-intercept. Again, this is where you begin because it's the b value. So I'm going to put a point at 4. Then this is a whole number. So we have -8. I need a number at the bottom because slope is fractions. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 because that keeps it the same. So this time it's negative. So we're going to go down 8 to the right 1. So from the red point, I'm going to go down 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the right 1. And then we're just going to connect them as best we can. Okay, so looking at equations. Here, when it says y equals -3, that tells me that my y-intercept is -3. So that point would be 0, -3. If I was to graph this, we'll just use the graph above. That tells me it would go through this point. That line is never going to cross the x-axis, so my x-intercept is none. Remember, we don't write 0. Okay? This is called standard form. So if your equation is in standard form, okay, so usually it's like this. Okay, if it's in standard, to get the x-intercept, cover y and solve. To get the y-intercept, we cover x and solve. Okay, so here, if I want to get the y-intercept, I'm going to cover up the term with x, and if I need to, solve. There's just a 1 here, so this is telling me that y equals 5, so my y-intercept would be 0, 5. The x-intercept, I know the y value is going to be 0, that's why I can cover it up. So the equation I'm left with is 7x equals 5. So then I just need to divide. So x is 5/7. Okay, let's try this try on this one. So my y-intercept, I can already put a 0 at the x because I know that's what it's going to be. So I'm going to cover up the x. I end up with negative 3y equals 15. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by negative 3. So y equals negative 5. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 5. Okay, so for my x-intercept, I'm going to go ahead and cover up y. So I get 8x equals 15. So my x-intercept has a y value of 0, and then I'm going to divide by 8. So x is 15 over 8. Okay. All right, on this one. Let's go ahead and we are going to find the x and y intercept of all of these. So for line A, there's my x-intercept, there's my y-intercept. So my x-intercept would be 1, 0, and you always want to write it as a point. My y-intercept would be 0, negative 1. For line B, my x-intercept would be negative 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4, 0. My y-intercept would be 0, negative 3. Okay, for line C, my x and my y. So my x-intercept on line C is going to be negative 3, 0. My y-intercept is 0, 4. Okay, and last one, line D. My y, my x. So my x-intercept is going to be 3, 0. My y-intercept is going to be 0, 2.